So this effect is quite a nostalgic one, and if anyone remembers the music video by Aha, "Take on Me," it kind of feels a little bit like this. I love this effect, and I think used correctly can, I don't know, it's just really nice. It's lovely. So first and foremost, we need some footage, and I got this clip from ArtGrid. I love this clip. There's a really nice moment. It kind of starts where she's having a photo taken, and that's kind of going to be the start for us. I'm going to right click and create a new sequence from the clip. Zoom in, and although it's only a 5-second clip, you know as much as I do just how that doesn't really matter. Doesn't matter at all. We're going to work with this. Secondly, what we need is an image, and I've already looked in Motion Array and I've found this image which I quite like. If I tilde this, it's this, and obviously you can see this is square and the actual video isn't. But obviously this image is square, but the note isn't, but we're going to make that work as well. So I'm just going to click download, and within seconds we now have it here ready for us. Mockup for Love Letter. If I double click that, you can see it right here. Lovely. Okay, so how do we start? Well, let's ignore the note for now, the love letter, and we're going to concentrate on this and find a point where we kind of want to start. And I think it's maybe a few frames in where she's really smiling. You can probably hear me smiling looking at it, because she really is. She's smiling. It's lovely. So we're going to select this clip and we're going to cut there. Now remember, we've used a way to freeze time before. Well, what I want to do is I want to create an instance where everything from this point before is freeze frame with this frame. Now, the easy way to do this, obviously we've created frame holds before going forward, but with this created and the playhead right here, if we right click this and go to frame hold options, we select hold on source time code. And because we've got this clip selected and we right click to that clip, if we press OK, if we now go back, this is held still, and then the rest of it carries on. Okay, I'm just going to get rid of that for now. We're just working with this, and obviously we can make this as long or as short as we want. Let's make it about this long, just to give us some room. Now we're going to move this up onto the first video track, and then we're going to bring in this. I'm going to bring this actually in right there for now, because I want to size this up, and we're going to, with this selected, click Effects Controls and make sure it's selected. It was, but I hate it when it does that. I'm just going to size this up a little just so it's fully in, and I actually want this piece of paper to be centered, so we're going to bring that up a little bit on the y-axis as well, and that's good for me. Okay, get rid of those. I'm just going to bring this behind. So now we want to fit this image into or onto the piece of paper. So first off, we're going to drop the opacity so we can kind of see through this, as you can see there, and then we're going to start to scale down just so we're looking for top and bottom. We're going to have to probably start rotating a little bit as well to try and make it correct there. You don't have to be absolutely spot on because we're going to mask this out as well, but maybe take there, scale it down a little bit more, and kind of look, if I move that up, yeah, kind of want to rotate it just a little bit more. I'm going to click in and say maybe -6. Okay, maybe -7. I'm looking at this bottom edge here. -7, press enter. Okay, that looks like, yeah, it's right the way across. Just going to move it. I'm going to click actually motion. I'm going to move it myself now because I know that the rotation is pretty much spot on, and yeah, that's going to do for now. Good. Okay, we're going to leave that opacity down and we're just going to mask this out. Again, we don't have to be too accurate, but I'm actually going to take the opacity a little bit further down so I can really see this note. And like we've done before, we're going to grab the pen tool. Remember how we did it with the walking or the swiping mask, and I'm going to tilde this so you can see it better. I'm also going to drop it to about 75. No, drop it to about 50, just so I've got some room to move. And we've still got the pen tool selected, so we're just going to, you can see actually we're not quite up at the edge Actually, let me just tilde that out, come back, get rid of the pen tool, tilde back in, and I'm just going to move it up just a little bit, just to there. Obviously we're off the bottom here a little bit, but we're right the way up the top, which is where I think matters. Tilde it out again, just come back in with the pen tool. No, go back in there. Creates another one. Let's just undo that, maybe delete that mask, and let's go for there. Now hit the pen tool and let's tilde it in, and let's get this party started. So this is just nice 4 points. We're going to click there, click there, click there, and click there. Good. And now we're just going to join them up, and that will now mask out everything else. Good. That's a good start. And let's tilde back out and fit. I can get rid of these now because I'm not going to be using any more, and we can just make this a little bit bigger. So now I'm going to bring the opacity all the way back up to 100. Click out so we can see where we're at. I'm just going to feather this mask a little bit, just a little bit. Good, that's a good start. We're actually covering the pencil, but don't worry, we will sort that out. First off, we're going to apply some effects to this. And the first effect we're going to apply is find edges. So if you go into effects and type find, and there's find edges, we're going to drop that straight on our clip, and straight away you'll see that all of a sudden it's starting to look almost like a drawing, because what it starts to do is it finds the edges, literally the pieces of contrast, and that's kind of, it's a good start. It is a good start. If we invert, you can see kind of like what that would mean. Yeah. Oh yeah. Okay, good. So now if that's not, obviously within this circumstance, it's not quite right. And if yours works and it looks fine by then, great. It already is starting to look like a drawing, but we've got color in here, and I kind of want to make it more like a sketch. So we go over to the color, and just like we would with a video clip, we just use Lumetri to kind of just play around with it. First, I'm going to kill out all the saturation. Then I'm going to maybe boost the contrast a little bit to see if we can get some more in. Maybe drop the shadows, and maybe drop the whites. Maybe no, we don't want to do that. Maybe drop the blacks a little. Maybe drop the exposure ever so. No, that doesn't work for us. Maybe boost the contrast, take down the up. There we go. Sometimes when you take up the contrast, it works. Sometimes if you take it down, it works. And good, that looks okay to me. What's going to make it really sell is when we get these things back, the heart here and the pencil here. So that's what I'm going to do now. I think that's enough for me. I think maybe if we wanted to do anything, mask expansion might help. Now, if we go up from 0, we can go up or down. So if we go up, it takes the mask out. But if we go down, we can bring the mask in. See how it's coming in there? If we bring it to maybe about there, that sells it a little bit better for me. Can't wait to get these out, and that's what we're going to do next. Good. So we all happy so far? Yeah? Say yes, Adam. Good. Okay. Now, what we could do is we could take this image and take it into Photoshop, and it would be really quite easy to get out. But I want to kind of stay in, Premiere Pro for this. So I'm going to grab this and hold down Alt and drag it up. And now we've got a clean slate of this. So all we really want to do is I want to get this heart and the shadow, and I want to get this pencil and the shadow. The problem with that is the fact that these are 4 different things. So we're going to need 4 of these. Does that make sense? Let's duplicate. So we're going to grab the first one, and I'm actually going to rename this as pencil shadow. And there's a reason why I'm starting with pencil shadow, because the pencil shadow will come underneath the pencil. It might not really matter, but just in case it does. Then we're going to duplicate that up there. I'm going to rename this as pencil. And then I'm going to Alt and duplicate this up again and right click this and rename, changes down there. We're going to say heart shadow. I forgot the word for shadow, just literally written it down there. And then we're going to duplicate it a last time, right click and rename it as heart. Good. So first off, we're going to start with the heart. And first off, I'm going to select the bottom 3 and deselect them. And I'm going to grab our pen tool because we're going to mask around this heart. Now, if we just quickly remind ourselves, if I disable this one as well, you can see that the top of the heart is actually in shot. It's only the bottom half that we kind of need to think about. So that's good to bear in mind, so we don't have to go all the way around the heart and mess about with that. I'm going to show you first how long it takes in Premiere Pro, and then I'm going to show you how easy it will be if you take it to Photoshop. Yeah, I think that's, for me, that's the best way to show you, because at least I'm showing you both ways, in case you want to add another program to your arsenal. And obviously we've done a lot in After Effects, but then again, there's an easy parallel between those two. But yeah, it's always good to kind of play a little bit in Photoshop as well. Anyway, we're going to start with this and we're going to get the heart. So first off, we're going to go into our opacity and click the pen tool there, which creates a mask. Now what we're going to do is we're going to, first we're going to tilde this. So we've got a bit more, and that's probably enough. We don't need to zoom in anymore. Remember, we've got all of this heart, or the top half kind of there. So we're just going to click there. Going to come around here. There's a little bit of a bend there. So we're going to do that. And then we're going to do that. And that's our heart back. Don't forget, with all these handles and all that, check out your course outline for the Bezier tool game trainer thing. It's brilliant. I tilde it out of here. If I click out, we can see that that heart is now there. If we disable this, you can see we've now brought it back. I'm just going to feather this. Well, actually, there's already a bit of a feather on there. If I feather it too much, actually, no, I'm going to leave it at 10. That's absolutely perfect. And now we're going to bring in the heart shadow, which obviously covers everything up again. So again, we're going to come here with the tool, the pen tool in the opacity. I'm going to tilde it on here, and we don't need to worry about the heart, just need to worry about the opacity. However, everything will become clear as to why I've gone for a separate layer for our shadow. Just going to click in here just so we've got everything, and boom, that's that done. Come out here, and if we click out, it's quite rough, isn't it? Okay, so I'm going to show you why. I'm just going to feather that just a little bit, so that makes it a little bit more, I don't know, shadowy. And we could change our blending mode, but actually, if we just turn down the opacity of this layer to 40%, watch this, hit enter, boom, looks like a shadow. See it? It's hardly there if I select it and disable it, but it's those little things that help to sell it. And with the pen and with the pencil and the shadow, it will sell it even more. So let's bring on the pencil, which obviously again brings on everything. Going to go for a pen tool in the opacity, and we will just repeat. So down from the bottom up to there, maybe up to the tip right there, and then down here, and boom, boom, done. Closed up. I'm going to tilde it out, and it gets a little bit repetitive. Now I'm just going to feather this by about maybe 15. Click out and see. Maybe I've feathered that a little bit too much. Leave it at 10 maybe. Yeah, quite happy with that. That's all good, but we don't have the shadow. See, we need that shadow. So we're going to bring that. I'm going to press there again, 0 to enable it. And we're then going to do one last opacity mask on the shadow, and just need to come around there, maybe a little bit like that, bearing in mind we're going to drop down the opacity of this one, so it doesn't really matter too much, and click up there, and then boom, done. It looks awful once it first comes, doesn't it? And then we're going to take that opacity, hit 40, boom, and now we have our shadow, and we are laughing. Looks good, doesn't it? I hope you think so. I can't hear you, but I'd like to think that you're saying it looks good. So how would we do that in Photoshop? Well, really quite easily, actually. Let me get this image again. I'm just going to duplicate this. In fact, I don't need to do that. I can just duplicate this, which is the full image there. And what we do is we'd right click and edit in Adobe Photoshop. And now this is actually going to overwrite this JPEG. So we need to label it correctly because we don't want to affect everything else. But yeah, we just open it up in Photoshop. It automatically loads it in. And we are now here in Photoshop. We would double click the background. Don't worry, I'm not going to go into absolute minute detail with regards to this. But what we're going to do is we're going to create a mask for the 4 things. So the heart, let me just bring this down a little bit so you can see the heart, the shadow, the pencil, and the shadow. Okay. So that's all we're going to do. And to do that, we're going to first select our layer here and Control J. And I'm just going to lock this one so we're not touching it. And what I'm going to do is we go for a clipping mask, and I'm going to I'm going to switch to black, have my brush on here, and whenever I paint, now you can't see it at the moment because I've got that locked like an idiot. Turn that off and lock it now, and you can see I'm painting transparency if I was back on black and white because I'm working on this clipping mask. See it? Okay, so now I'm going to size it up by holding down Alt and right click, and I'm just going to paint it around here. We could use like the pen tool again, but I'm not going to. We don't really need any of this at all. Doesn't really matter to us because actually we're only keeping part of the pencil and all that. But if we clear out all this and we get to a point where we're all good, this just kind of gives us a better starting point. And now I'm going to play. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to come to a selection tool, and the magic selection or the quick selection tool is here. If it doesn't look like this, it probably will look like this, but if it doesn't, you just long press with your left mouse button and you select quick selection tool. And again with Alt and right mouse button, you can resize your selection. I'm just going to click this guy. So that's now clicked and selected the whole of the heart pretty much. And if we just click again, we can go and we've now got that lovely shadow. And with that selected, all I'm going to do is I'm going to go back to my brush. And if I leave that selected like that, if I go through, I'm only removing what's in the selection. However, if I Control Z, come out of that and go select and inverse, I'm now getting rid of everything that's outside of that selection. And all I'm going to do now is I'm going to kind of fade out this this shadow, but I'm going to make it on its own layer. But if I look down here, you can see that there are certain points that aren't quite out. So I'm just going to come back to my black brush. I'm looking down here. I'm just making sure I get all the way through here, and good. So I'm going to call this, I'm going to duplicate this first, Control J to duplicate it. I'm going to double click this and I'm going to call this heart, just like we did in Premiere Pro. But as you can see, the tools in here are so much more powerful. I'm going to turn that off for now. I'm going to Control J again, and I'm going to double click in here and just say heart shadow. Okay, so now I'm going to turn this layer off. I'm just working on the heart, and I'm going to come back here. I'm still working on the clipping mask. I've got that highlighted. I'm just going to come here and I'm just going to get rid of most of that shadow. I want a bit of it, a little bit of it, but not too much. And I'm just going to, just so it blends properly. And that works for me. Good. Now I'm going to turn back on the heart shadow, turn off the heart, and I'm going to work again in the clipping mask, and I'm going to get the hardness up and down while holding Alt and the right mouse button. Affects the hardness. Going side to side changes the diameter. So I'm just going to take the hardness up to about there, and I'm just going to get rid of this heart. Okay, let's get rid of it. Still got a bit underneath, but that's cool. And now I'm just going to get this heart shadow, just select it and take the fill down to about, we said 40 before, didn't we? So yeah, let's get 41 will do. And those are those two, boom, done. And that opacity will continue. Okay, so now let's just hide those two, and we're just going to do the same with this one. If we zoom out, we've now got these. And first and foremost, before I start duplicating it, I'm working on the clipping mask, and I'm going to get rid of the heart completely. And then I'm going to duplicate this by Control and J. I'm going to call this pencil shadow, hit enter, double click this, say pencil, hit enter. That's pensile. That's not how you spell pencil. Good. Get rid of the A. Thank you. And let's just hide the pencil for now. And I just want to keep the pencil shadow. So again, what we're going to do is we're going to come here with this brush. We're going to size it down, and we're just going to not do that. We're going to select the actual clipping mask, and we're going to get rid of most of the pencil. Okay, most of the pencil, most of it. Come around here. We don't need any of this, and come up here with our brush. Just around here, all the way along there. Good. And then we're going to get that, and we're going to say, again, we're going to go 40%. Boom, done. Just a hint of it with a little bit of the pencil, doesn't really matter. Boom, come back here, close that off. And then we're going to use the selection tool again. And we're on the actual clipping mask of the pencil, and we're going to just click. Okay, that's good. I expected more, but okay, let's just move it down. Let's move down all the way down here, and then we can refine here. Okay, so we're all good here. Need a bit more of the pencil here. As you can see, these used to be called marching ants around here. Now we've got the pencil here, but we've got a little bit here that we don't need, and we've got all this that we don't need. So what we do is we hold down Alt, and we click there to close it up. That's good. Click there to close that up, and then start with Alt held, kind of start getting rid a little bit. Go, 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 go. Thank you. Don't need you. Don't need you. That's all good. Just need a bit more of that pencil in. We could have come around here with the pen tool, but the selection tool is so good in Photoshop. And again, with the clipping mask selected, if we hit our brush, if we've got black selected over here, if we go through, we're getting rid of what's selected. But you already know, if we go to select and inverse, Control Shift I is the shortcut, and go around it, we're now painting out everything outside of here. Get rid of all that, get rid of all that. Boom, happy, done. Control D to deselect. Turn on all our bits, and hold on, let's get rid of the pencil, get rid of the pencil, and okay, we don't want that. This is all still here from before. So this is the only one that's being shown. So let's turn that up and get rid of that because we're on black over here. Turn that back on, turn that off. And we want to work on the clipping mask again. Get rid of all that. And boom, boom, boom. Done. Happy. We can, however, see something right there. Which layer is that on? There. It's on the pencil layer. Good. Happy. I'm all good here. Get rid of all this. Don't know which layers they're on, but it doesn't really matter. So what we now want to do is we want to export it at the right size and the right resolution. So we come up to File, go to Export, Export As. We don't want our image size, we want our canvas size. And to get that right, we come back to Premiere Pro, we go to our sequence and check our sequence settings, and we're looking for 4096 by 2160. Come back to Photoshop and type in here 4096, click out by 2160. Click out, let that do its thing. It won't let you export until it's done its thing anyway. That looks about right, and hit export. You can change the name if you want to, but I'm just going to hit export. Actually gives me the option to rename it here, so I will. So I'm just going to go to images in here. I'm going to click in here, and I'm just going to say sketch overlay. Hit enter, and now that will save out. And then all we have to do is come back into here. The easy way to get to where these are, which is kind of in the area, is reveal an explorer. And if we go back to, it's not in motion array assets, We saved it in our images, click in images, and where is it? It's there in our sketch overlay. And we grab our sketch overlay, drag it into here. How long ago does it feel like we're playing with the pizza oven, eh? And then we just, let's get over here. This is what we want to cover over. And because we set all that correctly, once we drop it in, boom, we are done and dusted. How good does that look? And it's just in one PNG that's going over it. Good. Now that we've got that, let's move on. And all we need to do now is we need to highlight all of these. And we now need to nest these. And we're going to call this sketch. And that's that done. And then if we just play that now, looks good, doesn't it? But what I want to do is I want to kind of make it so it looks real. So we're kind of going into her as she becomes real. And the way in which we do this is we're just going to overlay this. And we're just going to turn down the opacity of this first. And then if we bring up our position, I'm just going to drop that opacity a little bit more, maybe to 40%. 40% is our opacity today, isn't it? And we're just going to size up this image. And we're going to look at her her ear there. And I'm just going to take back that rotation. Just no, a little bit too far. I hate the rotation thing there. Okay, that kind of looks it. If I play that now, if I take that up, that opacity. Yeah, okay, that looks cool. So that doesn't look right though, does it? No, it doesn't, because we changed the position, the scale, and the rotation. So what we're going to do is we're going to get to here, and we're going to set a keyframe, position, scale, rotation. Okay, then we're going to come back, and then we're going to reset, reset, reset. And we're going to right click and ease out, and select all them, right click, ease in. So now we have this effect. That doesn't look quite right, does it? Because we've now got this at the bottom. So what we need to do is we need to do a little bit of zooming of our own. Or do we? Maybe not. You know why? I'm going to duplicate this, and I'm going to take this bottom layer. I'm just going to get rid of all these keyframes. So as you can see, when this starts to rotate, color stays the same. And there's no problem, because if I get rid of this, it's still the same underneath. And that color is continued. Good. Nice little trick. And as we're going in there, good. So now what I want to do is I want to make it a little bit longer. So I'm going to go maybe about here. I need to go into one of these and make the clips longer inside. If I didn't, let me just undo that and go back. If I didn't, I wouldn't be able to make these nests bigger. But because this is a duplicate of this, duplicate even of this, if I double click and I highlight both of them, in fact, I need to, highlight all of them and then drag them out. If I select all of these and then drag them out, I can drag them out as long as I want because they're all single images. Static images. So if we come back here, we can now drag these two out because they're both the same thing. Good, happy with that. And I know that whenever this is in here, we want these keyframes. So if I'm going to take this over maybe a little bit like this and click here, I'm now going to drag these keyframes over to here at that point. Maybe drag these maybe all the way back to the beginning. Let's see how that looks. And it's just nice. Good. Okay. I want it still a little bit longer. Don't know why. I just want it a little bit longer. Let's take it to about, okay. I need to go further inside the nests. Good. Done. And make it a little bit longer. Good. I'm going to go to here and I'm going to grab these keyframes and drag them right the way to the end. So that should be like a nice slow movement. And just eases in, boom, we've got her. And now all we're going to do is we're going to add just a little bit of a something. And that is from Premiere Composer. And because this is kind of like a nostalgic thing, I'm going to do a light leak, almost like a dream sequence. So in transitions, we're going to go down to the light leaks, organic, and you know my favorite one, it's this one because it's got the warmth in it as well. Hit add, we're at the playhead is at the right point. Adds it, adds it, adds it. I'm going to go to the end here, go to the beginning there, and control and enter just to pre-render this. And if we now play this back, going to get rid of that. I'm going to tilde that out actually, and let's watch this together. Beautiful. Really nice. It's a lovely effect. It's a great way to start maybe a holiday video or a reminiscent video. It's just lovely. Now the problem that we do have there is that as we come out here, we've got these bars. These bars are being created because this isn't the right size. Size up this adjustment layer just a little, just so it kind of covers everything. Now if we go over here just to check, that's not there as well. It's not staying correct. So we just need to size that up as well. There we go. We're all the way out. Just pre-render that again. You don't often have these problems with Premiere Composer, but when you do, they're so easily changed because these are effectively adjustment layers. And boom, we have it. The sketch to video effect.